Okay, everybody, welcome to our Thor to the Dark World review. There will be spoilers. This is a more in-depth review. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, we do have a non-spoiler version. It's about 5 minutes, so check that out and watch that. But if you've seen the movie, this is a good review for you to take a look at. So I am here with Natasha, one of the co-founders and another vlogger on the Nerd Element. Say hi, Natasha.
Hello.
And so we're going to kind of discuss Thor, Thor 2, The Dark World. I thought it was really good. I mean, just to give you a brief summary, and you guys seen it, so you know, it basically, you know, the villain in this is Christopher Eccleston, which is, whoa, blew my mind. Doctor Who fans out there, but he is kind of a dark elf, and he created this substance called the ether, and it's supposed to, I don't know if it's supposed to block out the sun, but it's just supposed to turn light to dark. And that's his goal, and that's what he wants to do. And it's been kind of buried by, I want to say, Odin's father, I think it was, for years and years, and of course Natalie Portman finds her way to it. And we see Natalie Portman again, Jane Foster. Basically, she gets to travel to this other world because there's this harmonic convergence, and so the 9 realms are kind of aligning like this in a row, and so the veil between them is very thin, so in theory you can pop in between them, and that's what happens to her. She pops in between one, and she finds this ether, and then takes over her body, and she's kind of a host, and so the whole movie is basically Thor, his life in Asgard, how he's kind of been happy because he loves Jane and she's not there, and then he gets to go back to her, and then it's them battling to get this ether taken care of, and there's a bunch of stuff that happens in between that we'll talk about. But what I liked about this film is I think it was a bit deeper than the first one. I love the first one. Don't get me wrong. I love the first one. I think this one kind of played on the emotional aspect of Thor, his relationship with his brother, Loki, his relationship with Jane Foster, or Natalie Portman, and kind of how that shapes the way that he acts. So that was my thing. I really liked the performances from Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston, because I think Loki does such a good villain. He does such a good villain, but you see how he reacts to the death of his mother. He puts up this front that's a hologram, and when it disappears, you see how destroyed he is. And I really, really liked what they did with that. What did you think about that, Natasha?
I thought Loki was awesome in this movie. I definitely give props to Tom Hiddleston, because I'm not into skinny guys that much. I like a guy with meat on his bones, like Chris Hemsworth. But I would get with Loki. I'm not gonna lie. So Loki was cool. You know, there was definitely a part where you're like, oh my gosh, are you serious? And then at the end you're like, now what?
That is true. That is true. And I think, you know what I think it was? I think Loki, or Tom Hiddleston, just gained such a big following after the Avengers. Like, he just went up on everybody's list in terms of likable characters. And so, and I think the actor plays the part so well. Tom Hiddleston does such a good job. There's a good balance of, like, comic relief and then, like, kind of villainousness. Is that a word? I just made that word up. And then emotion. So I really like that. You know, Zachary Levi kind of took up the place of Josh Dallas, who's now on Once Upon a Time, and he did a good job with it. I was looking forward to seeing that, because I was like, oh, wow, Zachary Levi's going to be in it, and he dyed his hair and whatnot. And he only had a couple lines, but he did a really good job, and he's fighting. He had some fight scenes. I thought that was cool.
Well, I thought he actually looks pretty good blonde.
Yeah.
Black hair. I've always seen him with dark hair, so I thought that was cool.
I think that, I mean, Anthony Hopkins is going to be Anthony Hopkins, right? He's just gold in anything that he plays, and he plays Odin really well. Is it Rene Russo? Is
Yes,
that her mom's name? Okay. Yep, she did a good job. She had a fight scene too, and unfortunately, she didn't live through her fight scene.
But it was cool.
Yeah, but it was cool. You know, that's what kind of sparks the emotion on Loki's part. When he had that line that said, you know, 'cause Thor is like, I wish I could trust you, and he's like, trust my anger or trust my vengeance, and I'm like, that's deep. I just overall, I really liked it. Chris Eccleston, my goodness, I didn't even know it was him. I didn't even know it was, and he has a recognizable face, especially to Whovians, which I am, and I didn't know. I didn't know. Not until the end when they showed the credits and they said Chris Eccleston, and I was like, really good job. Really good makeup job, of course.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he played a villain well. I was scared of him. This world, Asgard, the movie took place more there, so we got to see more of Asgard, and it was really pretty. They did a really good job, the art direction, just the creation of that world. It was really nice to see the palace. You saw some of that in the first one too, but you get to see a little bit more of that, and I really like that. And you kind of see like Thor struggles with, do I really want this job? Do I really want to be king? And I think, you know, in the first one he kind of did. In this one he's just like, I'm good at being a warrior. You know, I'm good at being a warrior, but I can't sit on this throne. And he has a line there saying it doesn't even matter if you tell me Jane can be here and rule with me. That's not the point. I think he really comes to terms with, this is not, I'm not a behind the desk type of person.
Yeah.
Which is cool because, I mean, how lame would Thor be if he never went out there and fought? Who's going to do it? Cool. What were some of your favorite parts of the movie?
I definitely like that we got to see Asgard's defenses, like what would happen if someone tried to invade that planet. And for some reason, I keep on going in my mind now after like a big battle and like there's like a lot of damage, including like fights on Earth. Like, how much does that cost to fix? And I thought Heimdall, of course, by the awesome Idris Elba, I thought his role, I like that his role was a little bit more expanded. I definitely like the fact that he got to fight a little bit, maybe not hand to hand, but he was definitely trying to defend Asgard to the best of his ability. And again, I did like Christopher Eccleston as the villain. Loki, of course. I mean, the cast was just awesome in this movie, and the chemistry is there. Definitely, it definitely continued on from the first movie. Like, it didn't lose any of the chemistry or like the relationship status of each of the characters. And while some of the characters you kind of wanted them to kind of get a little bit more out of them, like the three, like Thor's companions, and maybe explore a little bit more of the triangle. I mean, Sith just didn't have a chance, so maybe that was a good thing. I don't know. I like Skarsgård as Dr. Selvig, but I don't think that he should have went crazy, or as crazy as he did. Granted, it was funny, and I did like the funny parts, especially by Kat Jennings. Is that Darcy?
Darcy.
So, yeah, I definitely thought her lines were pretty funny, and it didn't go over the top, even though some of the times they were in danger, and you're like, oh, well, sometimes you just have to have humor in a dangerous situation, because you're just like, okay, really? So the fight scenes were good. I definitely liked the last, battle scene, so to speak, and the little fight scenes between the three when they were trying to protect, give Loki and Thor time to escape, and the line that, everyone was like, well, if you betray Thor, I'll kill you. And, and Loki's like, get in line.
He has good comedic timing, I think. Tom Hiddleston does. And for Dr. Eric Selvig, I don't know how someone would function with having God in your head, and I think in Avengers, throughout the whole movie, you kind of see that they're leading to him going a little cuckoo. So I think they just kind of expanded on this because some nerd out there would be, no, that's not right. He can't be normal because at the end of Avengers he was going a little crazy, and so why did you drop that? So I think they kind of just like brought it into Thor. If they were gonna have him, they needed to be consistent.
Yeah.
Did they say how long it was between what happened in New York and Avengers and this Thor movie? I can't remember.
I didn't really get a sense of time because, in Asgard, I think time goes a little bit differently. Oh, well, they did mention that Thor was from the first Thor movie, it was like 2 years, and then, like,
right.
Between that, the happenings of the Avengers.
Yeah, she was kind of mad, and I completely understand.
And that's why she punched him. And she punched Loki. I thought that was funny, too.
But you guys all know, because you're all Marvel fans, and we all see the Marvel movies, that there are always scenes at the end. And not just one now, but sometimes two. So the first scene I geeked out about. I totally geeked out about. Benicio del Toro, I was like, I don't, because we know he's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's his character's name in Guardians of the Galaxy, the Collector. Mm-hmm. But my question is this a plot point for Guardians of the Galaxy that he's trying to collect, what did he call them, Infinity Stones?
Yeah, Infinity Stones, because remember Thanos,
right?
At the end of the first Avengers movie. Now, maybe eventually they are going to do something with Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet, because I did happen to read that storyline and I thought it was really good, and so hopefully they'll tie that in somehow.
So maybe he's collecting them for Thanos, because what did he say? One down. I'm not sure how many to go. I can't remember. I was still
5 more to
out.
go. Because apparently the Tesseract is an Infinity Stone.
I was still distracted. I was still distracted by the Collector and his David Bowie outfit. I'm so excited for that movie. I'm excited for most Marvel movies, but the excitement for that hadn't built up. And then when I saw that, I just realized how excited I was to see it all come together, because I'm not that familiar with Guardians of the Galaxy. I started buying the comics so I can get caught up on it. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with that.
I definitely want to try and read comics. As much as I want to get into comics, it's a lot easier said than done. Like, I try and read a few at a time. Again, I managed to read Infinity Gauntlet. I'm just lost. Help me.
I'm far behind. I've got a stack like this big that I need to read through.
Don't get me wrong. There's a stack that I'm like wanting to read, and I just have not had a chance to really read it yet.
Okay, but that was the first end scene. Now there was a second end scene after all the credits and the score and everything else, and it was, it's just kind of for the people that were into the love story. And we're like, oh, what's going to happen?
Romantic.
So it was cute. I will say that. I think the creature running in the background is a good plot point for S.H.I.E.L.D., and they better pick up on it. That's something for S.H.I.E.L.D. to wrap up. That would be awesome.
Although, it was just adorable seeing it go after the little bird.
So I wonder if somebody had talked to, they're probably different divisions within Disney, but they have to talk to each other. And so I'm wondering if that is already in the works for an episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. or it's already been filmed or whatnot, because that would be, you think about production for a TV show and you don't want to spend a lot of money, but Disney has the money, okay? Disney has the money to spend. They can create that creature for the TV show. They can do it. It's fine. So go ahead and do it. If they can bring Samuel L. Jackson in for a cameo, then they can do it. And, if Thor's going to spend more time on Earth, they should bring him in a cameo, too. So, I would love to see that.
Yeah, or even at least Kat Jennings, but, again, she's on another comedy show on CBS. So I don't know how that will work out.
Is she?
Yeah, she's on Two Broke Girls.
Oh, that's right.
I don't watch the show. I just know that she's in it.
So, that is basically our in-depth review of Thor 2, The Dark World. I gave it 5 stars. It was awesome. Chris Hemsworth, woo! Tom Hiddleston, woo! Natalie Portman, I guess, if you're into that. And I'm a hater. I'm a hater. I got to kiss Chris Hemsworth. No, I like Natalie Portman. You're awesome. I'm just jealous. So, okay, guys, that is our review. We will be back again, probably reviewing some upcoming movies like The Hobbit. I know, when that comes out. So look for that. Just leave us a comment if you have any questions or you have a comment. You can tweet me at anime23 or the Nerd Element at the Nerd Element. And Natasha?
At Willcat12. WILLCAT 12.
Yep. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.